Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Dirty Duck Coffee. If your coffee sucks, it's not the duck. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
Here we are, another week.
August is tomorrow, isn't it?
Thursday
or Thursday?
Hall of Fame game.
Thank God. I saw where Caleb Williams is not playing.
He said he wants to.
They said he's not tomorrow. I don't know why you would bring a kid in. He ain't got no experience. I'd let him play. He's going to throw 35 interceptions anyways. Let him play the first part of the year. Let him get it out and let him learn the system.
Yep.
So I would play him. I don't understand what setting him's doing you any fucking good.
See what you got.
Yeah, that's what I'd be playing him with.
All right, on with us today. Would you consider yourself the GOAT of the calling world, Mr. Robbie Iverson?
We're gonna start that already.
Yeah.
Are you the greatest ever?
Because I think when you look at the your success in the Goose and Duck, I would put you there.
I mean, there's a lot more into it. Actually, we were talking about it at SquadFest a little bit. Well, it was brought up to me. I don't like saying it. I mean, it's nice to hear other people say it, but there's so many different callers that can do so many different things that I can't do, and there's things I can do that others can't do. The example was Honker. Obviously, he's 3-time world champ. He's won more contests than pretty much anybody. He's won the most money in a year during contest calling. Our styles are very different. I have a little bit more flow to a routine than Honker does, I feel like. Maybe a little bit more on the power, but what he can do as far as transitions and doing one note to another, not only can I not do that, I don't think anybody else can other than Tim.
Right.
The way they can just be hitting one thing and then boom, snap of a finger, hit another, and it sounds flawless. I've never heard anybody other than those two able to do that. So I don't know. I think there's a gray area there. But to be in the talks with all those other guys, yeah, I mean, it feels pretty good. Yeah. I wouldn't say that, though.
But, I mean, you've just like been winning.
Well, actually, I actually wasn't. The last contest I won up until SquadFest was Presley's 2021.
Yeah, but you're always in the contentions, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like I was talking to Shanahan at SquadFest, and it's like it's got to be refreshing to know that there's not a stage in this nation that you can't step on and know that you're going to be blowing in the third round, unless you just totally fuck things up, squawk or lock your call up or something.
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty confident when I go to a contest that, like if I go out there and do my thing, like I'm going to be somewhere there at the end. Maybe not necessarily win, but like I feel like no matter, like you said, wherever it is that I go, like I have the opportunity to be top 3, top 5,
right?
Just about.
Right. You're going to make money that weekend.
Hopefully, yeah.
What? So let me ask you this, because we were talking about Shanahan earlier, and he says no, not much practice on his end. Is that the same with you? Do you have the muscle memory that you can kind of just polish things off about a week or two out, or are you constantly keeping your lungs in shape?
So I'll say, for the most part, like as far as getting a routine down, like my routine has not changed a whole lot since 2009. I mean, it's definitely a lot better than 2009. It's fine-tuned. It's more powerful, better flow, but it's just putting a few things in here and there to just make it that much better. I don't practice as much, but if you tell me there's a $5,000 contest coming up and I'm going to take my time out of my day, miss work, but like get away from the family, I'm going to practice. Like I always tell myself, you know, it as much fun as it is to see everybody, it's a business trip. Realistically, when I go to these things, I mean, I like having a good time just like everybody else, but when it comes down to it, I'm there for one reason only, try and collect paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a business trip.
And a lot of people say they don't care about the money, and that may be true, but like at the end of the day, there's only one contest I wouldn't care if you told me tomorrow that the world championship would have been for a pack of gum and a thank you for coming. I'd still go to that one, but it's hard anymore with today's society to justify, you know, leaving family, leaving work to go to a contest that's the odds of you not getting your money back in return and then some. It's hard to justify going to those anymore.
Right. Yeah. Do you think the world should change that? I think they should. The 3 and done. I mean, you wouldn't put Tom Brady, you wouldn't shut him down after 3. Michael Jordan, Kobe, you know, the greats of this industry. You penalize, you know, the fans and the guys that go to Easton to watch these things.
Me and Hunter have talked about this. I think it's just about every time we get on the phone with one another, somehow or another, it gets brought up. I think it is ridiculous rule. I mean, in the sense that, you know, it's cool. Like at the time, you're like, oh man, I just got retired. You know, it's cool to say that, but then you go back and look at it. It's like, man, other than like I was saying, like SquadFest or like Rogers back in the day, you know, the big purse contests. It's like, okay, what do I have to call for anymore? Mm-hmm. I think the best example is Hunter. Not that, I mean, Hunter, like I was saying, obviously still sounds absolutely amazing, but Hunter's routine now isn't what it was in 2007. I think if, you know, you told Hunter, hey, you know, you're going to get to compete in the Worlds in 2008, 2009, 10, so on and so forth, I don't think his routine falls off track as much as it has, because he knows he's still in November at the end of all this, he still has that to compete for.
Right.
And who's to say, I mean, yeah, I beat him in 2015, but who knows, maybe Hunter would have got on a streak and fine-tuned that routine even more. I maybe wouldn't even have a world championship.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'd like to feel confident enough that I could say, yeah, I would, but you'll never know now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, unless you go to like Dive Bomb or something and you see all of you guys pitted against one another. But even like you said, you know, Hunter won it in 2007, and you know now he's got nothing to work for anymore. And I mean, neither do you.
Every contest known to man, so it's for him especially. It's, you know, and he even said it. You know, he's like, "What do I got to lose anymore? I've done everything I can do." You know. And especially with running the business and having all that on his mind and on his plate, it's especially hard for him. But I just don't think you can go back and change the rule now because of guys like Hunter, like Mitch Hughes, guys that have been out of it so long. Maybe they wouldn't care to do it anyways. You know, maybe they'd still say, hey, 3 for me. But I feel like that fire at the end of the contest season would maybe come back up and like, okay, I can still compete in this one. I'm going to go try and win the world championship again. But I just don't think at this point in time you can turn it back around. Now, if they did, I'd be more than happy to go back out there and keep. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah. When did they make that rule? Do you know?
I think it was a long time before I ever got started in it. My first year out there was 2007, so I got to watch Hunter's last one, and yeah, I didn't know that was really a thing probably till that night. Honestly, I didn't know. I was 15 years old. I didn't know what I was actually watching at the time when it happened until after it was done and over with, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, he's done for good now." I was like, kind of stupid.
Right.
And I just think it's just like anything else. I mean, you watch Tiger Woods right now, and he struggles, but he's going to stop doing it when he feels like he can't do it anymore. He's not going to let somebody push him out.
Right.
And it should have been, but it is what it is.
Is that 2007 routine of Hunter's, is that the greatest routine ever?
I will say yes. I think the tone of his call and the power, but like we were talking about earlier, it depends on what you're really looking for. I mean, I'd like to say my 2014 would be up there too, but I just really liked the flow of my routine that year and was able to throw in a buzz cluck wherever I could, but it all just depends on what you're really wanting to hear. But when you go back and you listen to Hunter's routine, though, it was flawless. I mean, from start to finish, never missed a note. Every note had crack to it. Every note had power. I mean, he was there to get it done and over with. And I, at the time, like I said, not knowing all these things now, that I do now, I should say, you could tell like he was there to win.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't know there was a difference at the time, like calling to win and just calling to go through the motions. But like I noticed, when I really practice and whatever, and I go up there and hit certain notes and whatever, you can feel a difference in what you're doing and what people even say, like what you're hearing. Actually, it just popped up on my Facebook memories. Hunter had made a post after I won Rogers the last year they had it, and that was the only time I ever won that contest. And it happened to be the year after Tim died, and I told myself, like, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to win every single contest this year. Like that was my goal to do. And so it was a lot of practice. And in Hunter's post, he was like, you could tell like every note he was there to win from start to finish. And the judges, had it picked out from round one, so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, that 2007, to go back to that 2007 routine, you can just tell, and even just watching it and then watching like his body movement in that video, he was there for blood. Like he was going to win no matter what.
Let's I got your 2014 routine here. Let's take a listen to it real quick. We got to listen to commercials first. 3, 2, 1. There we go.
Stage, please.
Can you hear it?
Call warm up, like a warm up. Judges, this is a warm up. Judges for score.
Here we go. Is that buzz cluck you were talking about right there? Yeah. What a fucking routine. Did you know when you walked on that stage, like we're going to do this right here?
I actually, so I drew the bullet in the third round but because I know there's going to be somebody in Maryland thinking this, but he isn't wrong. Trevor DQ'd. I'm just going to get it out of the way now. Trevor DQ'd. He was up by, I can't remember. He knows to the T how many points he was up on.
Blew over the light.
What was it? 129.7687 seconds he blew, and they DQ'd me. Whatever. It is what it is. And I always tell him, I go, well, that last little note you did wasn't winning you the contest, so you shouldn't have been trying to push the light. But whatever. But yeah, I like in the third round anyways. Even the second round, not so much either. I like getting the bullet. You go out there and set the tone, and basically catch me. Now, you might not even be in first or anything, but you don't know that. I just feel like it's a good way, go out there and give it the best you got. And then if you are ahead, I feel like it's really going to put you ahead. Then you see some scorecards and it doesn't. But I just always really like that. And I just like getting it out of the way because nerves and whatever else. But yeah, that was pretty much my mindset. I remember waiting. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Easton.
I'm not.
But so when you're going back there, so like the first two rounds, you're in this band room. And then for the third round, they bring you back to like the dressing room where they get ready for their shows or whatever. And it's all bright. Everyone's chatty. And then, you open up this door to go out on the stage and it's like super dark right when you're walking in there. And then you turn around the corner and then all the lights from the auditorium are there. It's pretty cool. But just sitting there waiting for number one to be called, just saying to myself, I was like, this is going to, we're going to hit these hails as loud and powerful as we can and just go from there. Not going to hold anything back. And that's what I felt like I did. And, if Trevor would have been there, I probably wouldn't have won. But yeah, I think it definitely helped going out there and hammering out. I feel like one of my best routines that I've ever put together and being number one and setting the bar for everybody else to follow.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you try to push the light?
Absolutely
no.
Not. Stupid.
Right. The light comes on, wrap it up and, take your bow and see you later.
How long do you call for? For everybody that doesn't listen out there, how long is a routine supposed to be?
You have 90 seconds. So, yeah, I mean, what you do from 125 to 129.999, to me, if I'm judging, the only thing it can do to me is it can hurt you.
So if you quit at like a minute and 10 seconds, you can go 90 seconds, correct? Is that right?
But you need to be in that 80-second mark.
So
right?
you have to go at least 80 seconds. Do they have a minimum amount that you have to blow?
It can be as fast as you want it to be. Excuse me. I feel like if you get too far or too early, it's going to sound rushed.
Yeah.
You don't want to rush. You want to sound like you're not nervous and you know what you're doing. But at the same time, if you have good flow and structure, I don't think as a judge you're going to notice a whole lot. Like if you end your routine every time at a minute 15, I don't think back behind that curtain is going to know unless you're making your routine sound rush.
Right. Kind of like Biden in the debate. Whenever he ended with like 40 seconds, you don't want to do that. To give this answer and like, oh, you got 40 seconds left. You want to continue on? You know what I mean? But like, don't drag things out and then risk like Shanahan did, and light goes off and you make that little peep extra, and it's like, well, better luck next year.
Yeah. Like I said, I feel like it can only hurt you unless you have a note no one's heard.
Yeah.
And really going to put you over the top. But most judges, and me having judged before, I scores down at, probably shouldn't be saying that, but, or at least in your head, I should say, anyways, especially your score is written down before that caller makes their last note, because there's nothing inside that last 5 seconds they're going to do to change your score unless you stick a call, squeal a call, do something stupid. Then that score could go from an 8 to a 0 really quick. Yeah. To me, it's just not worth trying. But I will also say, it even happened to me at SquadFest just recently. My first round, I was able to get through my whole routine and hit it exactly how I wanted. But the second round, second and third rounds, my ending wasn't exactly how it normally was, because I'd see that light come on. And like I said, I'm not into pushing it. I probably would have had enough time to do it exactly how I wanted, but I wasn't wanting to risk it. And so I, on the fly, just switched it up a little bit. But I don't think it would have mattered had I done it the way I normally do or not. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's that 5-6 seconds. I don't think you're gaining any points there.
Right. So say what you got to say, get off the stage, don't risk it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you like judging? Is that something you like doing, or whenever they ask you, you're like, oh, fuck, find somebody else, please?
I mean, I do like judging. It's, it can be really long days. I would say I probably not a huge Main Street judge fan, just because it lacks creativity. Not that there aren't people that don't get creative, but for the most part, you're trying to pick out very small differences as to where a goose, you could have East Coast guys, Midwest guys, the occasional West Coast dudes. And everybody sounds a little different. Tones sound a little different. Yeah, I mean, I like judging goose calling contests. It's a good time. It's good, especially like novice juniors. I like that. And then when they come back and ask you for notes, you get a chance to help out people. I know a few of the juniors, and they'll send me text messages or messages on Facebook, and we'll be in touch. But I've been to contests where I see a kid on stage and then never get a chance to find them afterwards and give them any helpful advice. And normally, if you're a judge, they're going to be coming to find you. But on the other side of judging, not that I've had anybody really question it, but there's always going to be a chance for some backlash. You scored this guy this, me this, that, whatever. Not in the junior contest or anything, but when you get to the opens, there's always going to be somebody that bitches. Mm-hmm. No matter where, when, there's always going to be somebody that's upset about something, which is fine. I mean, I get it, but it's an opinionated competition. I won't say sport. I heard Teddy say that it was not a sport the other day, so I don't want to get him fired up. But yeah, it's subjective. To each their own. Whatever you like, and that's it.
I couldn't imagine sitting back there all day and listening to 40 different callers.
You couldn't pay me to do it. There's no way.
Well, think about it in its heyday when you'd go out to, Stuttgart still is. I don't know what they're at now. I think it's high 50s, maybe low 60s still. But even the World Goose, when it used to be 40, 50, 60 guys, however long ago. I mean, I think the first year I was there, it was 38 or 40. Then you got 2 nights of it out there. You do your 2 rounds, and then the third round flies by on Saturday night, but you got to come back the second day and finish it off.
Yeah. Do you think that calling contest, do you think that it has seen its peak? Or will there be a resurgence with like events like Dive Bomb and these big purses that we're seeing? Do you think that's the only way that this sport kind of gets a shot in the ass?
I personally think, I won't say that it's hit its peak, because they had a huge showing with juniors and novice contests the other weekend, more than I've seen in a really, really long time. I think if anything, meat duck calling is on the up. I think that's going to be the new goose calling. Well, even Main Street. I mean, Main Street used to be every bit as big as Open Goose too, but I think meat duck calling is going to be the new, that's it. Like, that's the thing everybody wants to do. Gives you a little bit more realistic expectations as far as, hey, it's not a whole lot different than what I do out in the field, which once you start doing it enough, you realize, okay, yeah, it is way different, but it's a sense of comfort, I guess. You know that you can, if you're a new up and comer and you listen to that routine, it's like, oh, what? I think I can do that, but then if you go and you listen to loud, powerful hail calls on either the Open Goose end or Main Street duck end, you listen to that, it's like, I don't think I can do that, nor do I think I want to, because I've never done or ever thought about doing that while I'm hunting. I think goose calling's kind of seen its peak, because I do think with it being different from what you do on a daily hunting basis, unless you do start getting $2,500, $5,000 payouts at numerous contests, I just don't think you're ever going to see the amount of people show back up for it again. Which there's a lot of newer guys coming up that are good, and they're going to continue to get better. But it's hard to, like we talked about earlier, it's hard to justify all the traveling to go for. I mean, it's nice that people can still do what they do in, $1,000 contest, but it's hard for me to justify, I'm going to make a 6-hour drive for $1,000. If you win, yeah, you can still make a decent profit, but if you don't, kind of everything's, you lose everything, right? In a sense, you out on gas money, hotels, food. At least normally when if it's a $5,000 open, you're looking at, probably around $2,500 for second, $1,500 for third, $1,000 for fourth, $500 for fifth. I think Rogers really, had it down when they were paying first through 10th. You always saw the guys from the East Coast coming because they always had a good chance at least getting their plane ticket paid for, right? It's just hard for everybody to justify, I think, spending the money to go without the potential of a return on your investment.
Right.
Now that's part of it. Not saying like, hey, you're going to go and get it all the time, but at least to have the opportunity to is what I think you look at more than anything. Like, yeah, you might end up screwing up and have a bad weekend. That is what it is. But you had the opportunity to potentially make your money back or bring a lot more home.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. You got to look at it from a financial position. You know what I mean?
Now, I should also go back on that too. I mean, obviously things have changed for me. I married with a kid now. It's not like it was when I was 25 years old, didn't have, a mortgage or anything like that. And I could go take the chance at losing, 400 to make 600.
Yeah.
Big of a deal then. It just, I guess when times change for everybody's a little different. For me, like, I'd really love to go to Mike Benjamin's contest in August because I know it'd be a really good time. It's going to be a bunch of friends up there. But for me, I work that weekend actually. But, if it was something that could benefit me in a sense to where if I miss out on work, I'm still going to go up there and make a good amount of money. I'd take the chance at going, but it just can't result missing work to go to that, and it just doesn't add up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now, will you have like a beer or anything in the bullpen while you're waiting, or is it strictly business? You do anything to take the nerves out a little bit?
So for goose calling contests, no. Main Street, yeah, I don't know what it is about Main Street. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's you got to be facing the crowd or you can't move or what it is. But like this past weekend, it was, I'm going to have 2 or 3 drinks before the contest starts, try and see it. And it didn't. It didn't at all. But no, in the bullpen, no. It just, like I said, I don't care if people do or whatever. That's fine. Whatever you want to do. It's just not for me. I feel like, once I hit a certain point, it's probably kind of like my golf game. If I have this many, I'm good. And then the minute I go over that edge, then it all goes downhill from there. And I don't want that to be the reason I mess up or do something stupid. And then, yeah, I mean, that's even the same thing, just like going out the night before the contest or anything like that. Made that mistake one time down in Memphis with the Nickum brothers, and I've never let it happen again.
They're a different breed, though.
Corey is, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an interesting character. I really like Corey, though. He's a lot of fun.
How many guys, honestly, because you talked about, or Andy did, about have we peaked out in goose calling contest and duck calling contest and whatever we're doing like this? I don't know that we've peaked out. I just think the same people have been winning for so long that a lot of young people are not getting as enthused. But if you want to be good, you got to step up, be a man.
So you agree with shutting them down at 3 at World?
No, I don't. I didn't say that. I said that is why I think that you're seeing not as many people call, because they know they're going to lose to the Robbies or the Trevors or the Nickums when they get up there. So they know it's over. How many guys do you think are on that actually can compete at that level consistently? Is there 10 guys in the world that can do it? Is it less than that? Honest God chance of getting out of their vehicle, walking on that stage and winning. It's less than 10, isn't it?
I'd say, to be blunt, I'd say 10's probably a pretty close number. Because you got to think, there's guys on the East Coast that, like I said, from financial standpoints, it's hard for them to come to, I feel like the Midwest contests get mainstreamed a lot more than the East Coast contests. And those guys go out there and they battle it out themselves. You know what I mean? Like, they're battling against each other every contest they go to. And they actually have quite a few of them out there. We just don't hear about them as much. Or the average person that follows the contest circuit doesn't hear about them as much. But, I mean, you got John Walls, Bobby Heim, Lee Williams, and I'm sure I'm missing a few. I mean, I know there's some younger kids from out there. Alden Pugh coming up. J.D. Elchinsky coming up. And like I said, I'm sure I'm missing a couple others. But those, off the top of my – well, and, Trevor out there. But I was kind of thinking of guys that haven't been retired from Worlds. But, I mean, so you take those 3. Then you got Kyle, Mike Benjamin – who else do we got? People are going to think I'm a real asshole because I know there's more and I'm just drawing a complete blank.
Well, you got put on the spot. I mean, it's not like you had time to prepare.
Yeah, you didn't have write your list down. But let's say there's 10. But there's
about 10 of them that I think, if you have a good mixture of judges, because that also plays a huge factor. If you have a good mixture of judges, say you have 2 East Coast judges, 2 Midwest judges, and then you're 1 oddball. I'd say there's probably close to 10 that if you throw them all back there and you do, your 3-round contest. I mean, I personally know I would have like probably 3 that I'd hear out of that 10 that'd be like, okay, for me personally, there'd probably be 3 or 4 out of that 10 that I'd be like, okay, it's going to be come down between, at the end of it, it's going to be these 3 or 4 against each other in the last round. But others, you know, it might be 5 or 6. But yeah, I'd say 10's a safe number to where you could say, you know, like I said, if you have a good mixture of judges, they can battle it out for 3 rounds, and you might be surprised who your winner is.
But I think that's the issue we're dealing with. Can you think of anything in the world that there's only 10 people that have a chance of winning?
Yeah, but how much of these fucking guys just cut their teeth and
Of
mastered
course.
their craft?
I'm not taking that away from them.
If you're gonna say, well, the competition is too high and I don't even want to bother with it, well, I mean, that's
You need to work harder.
right.
But and I'm with you on that. And I don't think they should water it down. But I said that's why I think there's a guy in California that's pretty good. But he's like, fuck, I ain't gonna go out there and waste my money because I ain't even gonna make the finals. I'm good. I'm the 15th best caller in the world, but I'm not good enough to make round 3 every week. And that's why I think, and it's just one of them deals. They're that good. And there's not very many things where you've got just a group of guys that are so much better than everybody else, and they continually win. When's the last time we had a new young guy come out that won?
Like one where everybody's in there, like you, Hunter, Mike, you know, things where guys haven't retired and everybody could compete.
And some nobody from somewhere walks up and are like, oh shit, who's this kid?
So I mean, I could be wrong because, like I said, there's really only been like 2 contests that I do a year now, and it's Dive Bomb and Presley's. And Presley's, you know, it's an hour and 40 minutes from my house, so I'm there every year. But so I miss out on some things. I miss some results, but I'll say I don't know if he's for sure won yet or not. But like Austin Sheelander from Minnesota, I mean, the last many big contests, he's been right there at the top of the leaderboard. Like he's always in the top 3. It seems like wherever he goes now. He just hasn't broke through yet, but he's not quitting. Like he's going to continue to do it until he gets what he wants to get done. That's one off the top of my head that I know, like it's only a matter of time. Like it's going to happen for him at some point in time. He might have to wait his turn a little bit, but as long as he keeps with it, he's going to get what he wants to get it done. But I do think that is part of the problem, is that people go and they look at the results and it's, oh, this guy again, this guy again. Nobody that's been doing it for 10 years is beating these guys. Why am I going to try?
But it could have been the same with golf. Whenever Tiger was at his prime, it's like, oh fuck, here it is. It's this guy, or Scheffler now. Like, why would I even try? Why would I even try if I know that one of these guys is at a contest? Well, I mean, you're not going to get any better sitting at home.
The only problem with that example, I get what you're saying, but the only problem with that example is 60th place gets $45,000.
No, yeah, 100%. But I'm just looking at the overall. Right, the financial incentive is there, but the pride thing.
That's something that which is so hard to do because the outdoor world has changed as a whole, regardless of economy or not. The whole marketing aspect of everything has changed. They don't events anymore. You know, you have online sales, you have Instagram to push your online sales, you have Facebook to push this, TikTok to push that. You don't need to pay somebody to go to a store and push these things anymore. So you don't need to be around for a calling contest to get your product's name out there to let people see it and be a sponsor of anything. But I like I said, I think if there's ever a way that we can get it figured out to where we can up the overall purse for every contest, I think things will drastically change. I think there's people that would be doing it, or the people that used to call a lot. We actually talked about him at SquadFest because we haven't seen him on. Nathan Creshawn from California. Incredibly talented goose caller. He'd be another one that I'd say, you know what, if he wanted to get back into it, you could turn that 10 into 11. But I mean, life changes for everybody. I mean, I'm not sure. I know he's big into bass fishing now, but I'm sure if you said, "Hey, Nathan, there's this contest in Illinois that's paying $10,000 for first," and then go down the list, I'm gonna say he might be booking a plane ticket and coming out and see what he can do.
Right.
You know what? You got a lot of those guys out there that, like I said, you just can't justify doing it. But if you're go out and throw out a huge wad of cash like that, you might see some people come back that have already been doing it, or you're going to see the people that are on the fence about starting, and knowing, oh, well, hey, if I go out there and I get 10th place, I can still make $500. Mm-hmm. Not that you ever want to shoot for the bottom, but it gives you some incentive.
You cover your back end a little bit more.
But yeah, I think, there's a lot of people that don't like losing. Nobody, I mean, I don't think anybody likes losing, but they don't like continued losing, and they don't want to put in the work to get better at it. They're just like, okay, you know what? Good enough for me. I tried it. Don't care. And that's fine. You don't have to want to keep going, but you also can't expect to get any better without putting the work in either.
Right.
So it depends on what you want to do.
Now, you said your first year at Worlds was 2007, correct? Where'd you finish?
Yep. I was in junior, so I competed in every contest. Luckily, I had a dad and family that was willing to pay whatever entry fees at the time. I mean, entry fees out in Easton aren't cheap. They're, for the big boys, they're $100 a piece. And I was in the live goose, I was in the live duck, I was in the senior goose, and didn't have any business being in any of those contests. So I got cut in the first round of all those. And the junior stuff, I got second in the Mason-Dixon juniors, and then I got fourth in the junior goose.
Right. But you got cut in the first round of the big boys. But
yes.
If that would have been your mentality of, okay, let me ask you this. What was the first year that you made it out of the first round at Worlds?
2008.
So the next year.
Yep.
How much did you work that year to make sure that you're going to make it out of the first round?
It was, I mean, a lot.
Right.
I mean, I was, it obviously started with the intermediates throughout that year, but I mean, practicing every day, at least during the contest calling season, it used to start, February and then run all summer long. So, I mean, it was constant from that time. And then you run right back into hunting season. So you're never really stopping calling if you're going to practice all the time.
Where'd you finish in 2008?
Second to Kyle Jones. And that one was, in seniors, I think I was actually just outside the cut to make the third round, because can't remember who Kyle tied with. But that year was like kind of a turning point for me, because me and Kyle were like the two juniors at the time that were at the top of, the list amongst the pool of great callers, but normally it was me and him battling back and forth throughout the junior stuff. So that senior Worlds in 2008, Kyle had a call off with somebody to make it to the third round. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, shit. If he beat me in this, tomorrow's going to suck. Have a chance in hell at winning. And he did. He ended up beating me in the juniors too. So, but that kind of, I was pretty down about that. And I literally went back to the drawing board and changed the way I blew a goose call, changed everything. Because Kyle was, at the time, a lot louder, a lot more powerful than I was. He was also a lot bigger than I was too. So that plays a factor, size and whatever. But I changed everything, changed what call I was blowing. I mean, I was trying every which thing to do to try and get more power and more volume out of a goose call. And that was what I dedicated that whole next calling season to, is trying to get that done.
How many times have you done that? Where you just threw everything away, said, okay, this is not the way, just fuck it. We're starting from scratch. Is that the one and only time, or have you done that a couple times?
So luckily, that's the one and only time I've ever been like, okay, yeah, hey, we got to change something right now or we're not going to get anywhere. Like I said, after that, the base of my routine has always kind of been the same since 2009. Adding in things here and there, taking things out, putting something else in, just playing around with it, seeing what really flows together better. But yeah, luckily for me, that's the only time I've ever really been like, okay, yep, we got to change this, get it changed out. And I mean, when I did and I got it to where I liked it, I saw instant feedback. I mean, I always had a hard time placing in the opens as a junior. And the minute I threw, my old routine away, and started changing the way I blew a call, I started, seeing top fives, top threes, and then broke through the last contest before Worlds. Actually, it was the Tim Ground Southern Illinois World Open in September down at John A. Logan. I won that, and I was like, okay, that was my breakthrough moment. Like, it was kind of like, you're here now moment, and that justified all the hard work for me, and I was going into Easton that year with a lot of confidence.
So how do you know, okay, I need to start from zero, I need to totally strip away everything? How do you know that's the move rather than let me do what I've been doing but just tweak a few things? Do you know what I mean? How do you know that you need a new car, not just an oil change?
I think it was just, I would get all the feedback from the judges, like, you're not, these guys are a lot louder than you. They're more powerful. Your difficulty is there. That's never been an issue. You have a difficult routine or difficult segments in your routine, but you just got to figure out a way to get more power and volume. And I didn't really know what that meant other than, making your call a little stiffer. And it just, I guess, like I said, it's partially, growing up too, letting your lungs develop. There's actually, a kid right now, JT Johnson. He's got a pretty good routine, and he's just needs to grow a little bit. And he took, everything to heart about, you need to make your call stiffer, lengthen that read a little bit. And I took his call from him to see it, because I was like, man, he's just not getting the crack on that call like these other kids are. And I mean, I could blow his call, but it wasn't, I don't know if I could have got through a routine on it. Just to feel like I had a pretty stiff call, and that put mine to shame. But yeah, I guess I don't know what exactly I did. I mean, like, compared to most of the other grounds callers, not saying that we all sound the same or anything like that, but like, you listen to a Bay Country caller, you listen to a grounds caller, Zinc, Molt Gear, you name all the big call companies. You can kind of tell what someone's blowing. Like, once you've been around it enough, you can hear it, right? But I would kind of say the way, like, I do a cluck or a honk, whatever you want to call it, I compare myself more to, like, Field Hunnell, more so than Hunter, where he kind of rolled that note into the call instead of, like, the straight air. Now, I get to where I will use just straight air into it. But, like, if you listen, like, in the lay down stuff, especially where I notice it the most, but, like, you listen to Fields lay down and the way he does a honk, cluck, murmurs, I think we're more comparable than say like me and Hunter when it comes to the way we introduce Aaron to the call. But once I started doing that, though, for whatever reason, now if I went back, I don't think I could muscle-wise go back to the way I used to blow a call when I was younger. But I think if I went back to it now, I'd have plenty of power and volume blowing it that way. But I just been, it's been now 15 years doing it this way. I don't think it's going to be very easy to try and go back and try and do it over again. But yeah, it was whatever reason it was that I started doing that and it worked, which was great. I don't know what made me think to start trying to blow a call that way, but whatever, it did work.
Yeah, obviously. Did Field win 3? Is he retired from it?
2. So he in 2004 and 2013. And then it was in 2014 when I won my last one. That was both of us. We came down first and second. And both of us were waiting on that third one. And, Kelly had a big smile on his face because he knew what it meant to have us two up there against each other at the very end there. But, yeah, he won 2. I don't know if he came back after that year or not. I can't remember.
I wonder why we don't see him anymore at these calling contests.
And
I get it, life changes. He's also got a business to run.
I know. I mean, I haven't talked to Field in a really long time, but to say though too, probably one of, if not the best guys I've met in this whole thing. He one of the best dudes there is by far. I love Field. Especially what he can do behind the camera, the old Zinc videos and everything. Those were incredible. But I mean, I know he's got young kids. I'm sure he's busy with, calls, and I've been noticing on Instagram, he does a lot of filming again now. I'm getting back into that really big, which is good because he's incredible at it. And then I know they had him on the ICA podcast not too long ago. I know he said something too about with his hearing, like when it even comes to tuning calls, said he gets like a ring in his ear. I mean, how he's been doing this for how long? I mean, there's probably not too many people that have tuned as many calls as he has, right, with the exception of Hunter and a few others. I think that was part of it, like being able to actually sit down and practice after tuning calls all day. And then, okay, now I'm going to go practice my routine on a call. I'm blowing as loud and as hard as I can. Sure, that doesn't help. But yeah, I mean, he is one I wish I did get to see more often because, like I said, he's always a good time. Him and his brother both, seeing him and Clay around together was always great. And he's still Fields. I love the way he blows a goose call. I don't think there's anybody that's had a goosier tone all around in a contest routine, just that big goose. You got a lot of people that can do these finesse notes and they sound incredible, but like somebody that's just going to stick to the basics and make it sound amazing. And that's, how I look at his calling. It's always been kind of plain Jane, but it's always awesome. And it's always just got that big, deep goose to
right.
it.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit here. Packer football. What do you think about Jordan Love, highest paid? What do you think about that? Big contract.
I mean, I think what he did last year was pretty good.
Which one? The way he ended the last 8 games, not the first?
Yes.
Okay.
But, I mean, even if you take the whole season as a whole, he didn't do too bad even in the beginning. There was a lot of moving parts in the first 8 games of that, too. Never had the same offensive line more than once.
I'll give you that.
Never had the same receiving core more than once, and you're missing what I will say is a top 5 running back in football for the last 3-4 years, Aaron Jones, for half the season. But I will also say when the season turned around is when Aaron Jones got there. So how much of it was having the threat of Aaron Jones in the backfield and how much was it of Jordan Love being good? That I think we have yet to see. I don't necessarily say I like the contract because it's a lot of money. But in this market for football, I think you got to take the chance at doing it. Otherwise, they'll be gone, and then you'll be back to square one, having to build all over. I mean, you made the investment in the dude, was it 5 years ago now, while you still had, to me, the best quarterback to ever play the game, coming off an MVP season. And I think you kind of had to pay him something pretty good. But, yeah, I'm interested to see how he does. I mean, Josh Jacobs is a stud. But we'll see if it's based off the run game. I just have a hard time thinking you should have paid the guy that much money for, we'll go even for what you said, off 8 games of spectacular performance.
Right. Yeah. If he plays like he did the last 8 games, it was a great investment. But
100%.
I wouldn't have done it.
You would not have done it.
No, hell, not a chance in hell. I would have.
But hold on, did he still have one more year on the 10 million or whatever?
Yes, I would have made him play out his year. And if he had a really good year, then I'd have bit the bullet and paid him $60 million, what it's going to cost for next year's contract.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my deal: 4 years at $250 million is what he got.
Yeah, 220, I believe, but there's signing bonuses and stuff in there. So
right, but his 5-year contract, I would have played him at $10 million this year, and I'd have given him $240 million guaranteed the next 5 years. He'd been the same kind of money, but you're protected because if he plays like he did the first game of the last year, it's the worst contract in football. It's going to make the Deshaun Watson contract not look bad. If he plays like he did at the end, very, very, very good deal. And you're getting ahead of it. The Cowboys are the ones that have screwed up their life. They're stupid. They've gotten to a point now where Dak has all the leverage in the world. And they're either going to have to pay him $60 million a year and get the same thing with no playoff wins. If he goes out and wins and gets to the conference game or makes it to the Super Bowl somehow, then all of a sudden you're going to pay him $65 or $70 million a year. If he falls flat on his face, he's going somewhere else anyways. They've gotten themselves in a bad situation. The Packers weren't in that situation. They moved early. I thought they messed up. I also think that, who's the other big quarterback? Tua. I would not have, there's no way in hell I would have given him that contract with his injury with concussions. I'd be scared to death on that deal.
No. But to go back a little bit, though, like you're saying, make him play out his last. Bears perspective, though, I wouldn't. I would sit out just because, I mean, you can see at times how cutthroat that business can, and you go get hurt, then what do you do? I mean, obviously he's made plenty of money even as a rookie, but still.
He don't deserve that contract. He's had 8 games. I'm with you if he'd played 2 years like this. I've got no problem with the amount of money they're paying him, but I don't know that we've seen a good body of work at how really good he is because he was on the verge of getting benched.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. I'm just saying from Jordan Love's side of things, I don't blame him for holding out the little bit that he did. And if they wouldn't have came to an agreement, if he would have held out for longer, just because, you got to have job security. Like Lamar Jackson, people can say what they him, but the Ravens playing the game that they did with him, it's like, first off, you got a guy that's been putting up these numbers with you. Yeah, he hasn't made it to the big game yet, but what kind of help have you ever given that guy? And he's had 2 MVP seasons without hardly on the receiver side of things. And then he brought up Deshaun Watson. Now, from a football perspective, before he got in any of his trouble, I think he was a top 5, top 4 quarterback in football.
Not even debating that. He was very, very, very good. Very good.
Well, and that's a bad contract, but I think at the time, what the Browns did, I mean, I didn't blame them for it. I mean, it was hard going off of not seeing anything for a while, but who would have thought somebody that was that athletic and that good, it would have fell off so fast?
Yeah, and I think he has a pretty good bounce back year this year. I think he's one more year coming off that surgery and sitting out a year. That makes a big difference. I'm not sold on Jordan Love. I don't dislike the guy. He was great at the end of the year. I just would have not have tied that kind of money up on somebody expecting and not without more of a body of work. Like Dak, you know what the body of work is. I don't understand the owners on some of this stuff. Jerry Jones, CeeDee Lamb, what is he waiting on? Why would you not? But you know you're going to pay the guy. Why wait and not have him pay him his money? You're going to pay him anyways.
Why sign him in August?
Fuck yeah, I'll sign him and get him signed and get him there. What they're going to do is they're going to wait, and then the last week of August he's going to sign, or week 1 or week 2. That's dumb. He should have been. You're going to pay him anyway, so pay him his money. Micah Parsons, I would not pay. I think Micah is very overrated. He's a great football player. He puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback, but he disappears in big games. I think he's going to walk anyways after this year, so I wouldn't pay him a lot of money. I'd make him play out his contract. You've got the leverage on these young guys because they haven't made that big killer contract yet. Like Jordan Love he's got fuck you money. He does. He can say fuck you and walk off and live a better life than anybody in his family's ever lived. But he doesn't have the kind of money that he's going to have in 5 years. So you have some leverage to make him come back and play. You know, you go to Aaron Rodgers and you say, listen, bud, I don't give a shit. You're going to be here, blah, blah, blah. And he can say, you know what? I retire. He's well taken care of. Jordan Love's not that way. I would not have given Jordan Love the break the bank kind of money. But if he has a good year this year, then you look like a genius because you're going to save about $7 million a year. But then again, he's going to renegotiate after 2 years. These guys don't ever play out their contracts anymore.
I'll say this, on the Packers thing, I've been lucky enough to watch 2 of the best to ever do it for a long time, and they know something about what they're doing. I mean, like I said, it was just 8 games last year, but it looks like a pretty good start.
Yeah, I mean,
for the next
right
coming up great quarterback. I mean, hopefully he doesn't fall on his face, but I mean, it was such an oddball pick to begin with. It's kind of like somebody saw something and was like, hey, this is our next guy. And because if I was, I don't think I would have played another game for Green Bay after they did that.
I would.
He's a lot better guy than I would have said, kick rocks, I'm fucking out of here. I'm going to go to somebody that appreciates me more. Because I'll also say this. Nobody ever brought in the help to Aaron Rodgers. You can say, oh, he had Jordy Nelson, he had Devontae Adams, he had this. Those were all drafted guys. And if you want to go back and watch highlights of Devontae Adams in his second year, be my guest, because my hands were probably about as good as his were. He could not all to save his life.
Yeah.
He'd beat everybody, but he'd drop everything. And then finally, it went to him instead of Jordy Nelson, and things turned out good. But these weren't, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase type picks that they were getting. These were 2nd, 3rd, 4th round guys. I mean, Randall Cobb was a quarterback at Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jordy Nelson at Kansas State.
They've hit, they've done a good job of being a general manager. And now, if Jordan Love is the real deal, and last year on Halloween, if you'd have said that they were giving this money, you thought they lost their fucking mind.
I pulled up they lost to the Giants 24-25 or something. Like that had to just be like, what the fuck?
And it was that Ben DiNucci guy. I think,
to DiNucci.
Yeah, but if he hits, it's great. But can you imagine if he does hit? The Packers will have 3 stud quarterbacks in a row. That
Rodgers,
never happens.
No.
Nowhere. I mean, Indianapolis looked like they hit 2 in a row on Peyton and Andrew Luck, and then Andrew Luck got hurt. The Cowboys had Tony Romo and Dak, and they're both good quarterbacks. They're not world beaters, but they've been good quarterbacks. But it's hard to find a franchise.
The Giants are still looking.
They can't find fucking one since Phil Simms left. Right. Eli Manning. But I mean, not back
to back.
No, that you can't do it. It's not. It almost. They had Kurt Warner for a while as a stopgap, but it's almost impossible to get back to back good quarterbacks.
If Jordan Love hits, 31 other teams in the league should look at how the Packers develop a quarterback.
Sitting on the bench for a couple of years.
Yeah. Or they need to hire whoever their scout is for an instant money. But one second, I need to take a break real quick.
Yeah, we'll talk football here until you get back. But I mean, I think that's the recipe.
Who's the best quarterback in the NFL right now?
Like, what are you going
The
after
best
here?
quarterback. If you had to pick someone to be your quarterback on your franchise, you could pick anybody in the NFL.
Mahomes.
Of course you would. What did he do for 1 year? Sat
That.
behind Alex Smith.
Josh
People-
Allen didn't though, did he?
I don't know if he did or didn't. But Alex, I mean, but Mahomes is the best.
Yeah.
He set for a year behind someone. He learned how to be a professional quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady set for 10 games behind Drew Bledsoe before he got hurt.
Right.
To learn how to be a professional quarterback. I think setting behind someone makes you difference. Then you got Peyton Manning, and I saw a statistic the other day, and people were bitching about, oh, Josh Allen's done. He's going to start falling now. He's peaked out already. Josh Allen through 5 years, numbers are 1,000 times better than Peyton Manning's.
Mm-hmm.
A lot better. More touchdowns, less interceptions, better more yards, better completion percentage,
Bit of a
and
different
can
game,
run the
though.
ball.
Bit of a different game though.
It is, but his numbers are really, really good. But these guys need to learn how. You keep throwing them out the deal. David Carr, they ruined him. Threw him out as a rookie. These rookies that get up there and get the shit beat out of them don't do you any good. Justin Fields hasn't ever had a chance because he was always running for his life.
Right.
And I think C.J. Stroud, the Texans have a pretty good offensive line, and it helped him.
Let's look up here. Let's see. Okay. So last year, Mahomes won, right?
Yes.
Okay. Mahomes sat. Let's look up. Let's just see. Let's do a little experiment. Year before that, Mahomes. Year before that was Stafford.
That
He
won the
didn't
Super
sit.
Bowl?
Yeah. He didn't sit, did he? Was he week 1 at Detroit?
He probably he might have sat by a year because that still was a long time ago. They still might have had somebody in front of him. But regardless, he had a lot of growing pains. He was terrible at the end of games. Matt Stafford's a great quarterback, but the fourth quarter he was bad.
Right.
And then he won at LA. But Jared
Year before that was Tampa Bay, then Kansas City, then the Patriots, then Philly. Who'd Philly win with?
Carson Wentz, but he got hurt. Nick Foles won the Super Bowl for him.
Right, so that's kind of a fluky deal. Then it was Brady, Manning, Brady, Russell Wilson.
Russell started as a rookie. And everybody was surprised. I think he was a 4th or 5th round draft pick. And he might have been more than that, but I think he was a pretty late round pick, draft pick, because they signed the kid from Green Bay, Matt Flynn, to that big money.
That's right.
And he went to Seattle, and he never played. Russell Wilson started in front of him from day one, I think.
Right.
But-
No, I think Matt might have started a couple games.
But you don't have very many rookie quarterbacks that are successful. It just doesn't happen. And you're going to see it this year. We've got 6 rookie quarterbacks they got drafted or whatever it was.
2 of them will hit.
And maybe 2 of them will hit. And it's right now, it's nobody's game. The best rookie draft class for quarterbacks ever has got to be the one with all these guys that are signing right now. Tua, Jalen Hurts, all them guys were all drafted about the same time.
Yeah.
And they've been pretty successful. Burrow,
Yeah.
but you've got...
Burrow was a day 1 starter.
Yep.
I think the money kind of inflates that a little bit. I mean, I still look at Andrew Luck, RG3 draft class. RG3 was absolutely amazing to watch when he was.
Blew his knee out, and it never changed him because he was a mobile quarterback.
And then Andrew Luck, the concussions and whatever. But I mean, I think the Colts did hit. They were going to have 2
Yes.
back-to-back. You know what I should say? I think they did hit. I mean, I think he could have kept playing. He just, he knew he made his money and cared more about his health and whatever else than to keep playing. But those 2 guys, I think, both talent-wise were better than most of the quarterbacks, I think, that are in this. What was it I saw yesterday? That draft class, whatever year that was, but with like Love, Burrow, and all of them, they're all over $1 billion combined contract-wise.
Insane amount of money.
So Burrow and Love come out the same year. Is that right?
I believe so. I think it was Burrow, Love. Was Hurts in that too? I think it.
No, Hurts and Tua had to be the year before because they're just now getting their first contract. Burrow got his already, so they have to be a year ahead, I would think, and maybe not. But
I know.
Yeah, it was. So it's Joe Burrow, Tua, Justin Herbert. Let me look here. CD was in that draft. Justin Jefferson was in that draft. Jordan Love, I thought I just saw Jalen Hurts.
So Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts is a second-round pick. Joe Burrow.
But it's still the same draft.
So Joe Burrow, Herbert, and who else? Justin Fields.
Joe Burrow went 101. Tua was number 5. Justin Herbert was number 6. And then scroll down to Jordan Love at 26.
Justin Fields wasn't in that class then.
No, Fields was
The year after that.
20.
So that's 4 guys, though, that have gotten big contracts. 4.
And then
Jalen Hurts is a second-round pick, and he's the only one that's he didn't win a Super Bowl. Him and Burrow both have lost a Super Bowl, though.
Right.
But that's a hell of a quarterback draft to have, and they all hit.
Mm-hmm.
They all are good quarterbacks. Justin Herbert is the I don't know. I listen to a lot of sports radio, like probably a lot of listeners do, and I'm sold on him talent wise. Like if I had to draft a quarterback in the NFL right now, he would be a top 4 guy if I was starting a franchise. If I could cherry pick a guy to be my quarterback, but he ain't done shit.
No,
he hasn't. When it counts, he's Lamar Jackson bad. When it counts, Lamar's been even better in the regular season.
that's a dysfunctional organization, though.
Which
And,
one? The Chargers. They should be leveled out now
They
because
should
they
be
got
with
a
Harbaugh.
great coach. They're going to run the ball a lot, but and like somebody said, who would not take that job when you have Justin Herbert, a quarterback? You got a franchise quarterback that's young,
Yeah.
but he hasn't done anything. Trevor Lawrence, same way.
True.
I mean, I'm a little older, but you got to say, too, though, I mean, I still think he's one of the best in the league, but Justin Herbert also had Keenan Allen for how many years?
But
And Mike Williams.
a lot of hurt, a lot of injuries when it counted.
Yeah, Mike Williams.
One of the biggest problems with the Chargers is they've had shitty calling. I'm telling you right now, you could take a junior high kid that's 19 freaking years old that goes to Hickory State or somewhere and let him head coach, and he'd have been a better head coach than Brandon Staley was last year, a couple of years. Brandon Staley was horrible, a horrible coach. And
Well, you got the fact that they don't have a home game all year.
no, they should have never left San Diego.
That's terrible for them. I think it was the first year they had their new stadium or whatever it was, and Packers played there, and it was all green and yellow. I was like, what in the hell is going on? I mean, I know Packers have one of the biggest fan bases, but I'm like, this is like, you normally see a little sea of like the opposing colors, but the whole stadium was just green. It was unreal.
I think I heard something. So the Packers and the Eagles open up Friday night in Brazil. I've heard like the gang drama down there is so bad that neither team is going to be able to wear green.
Yeah, I saw something about, I don't know why the hell they're even playing down there. Like, why would you take these people down in the area with cartels and bad gang? I mean, it is what it is, but it's like, what? I just don't see what the NFL's really gaining out of it. And you're screwing each team out of a home game.
Right.
Yeah, I don't understand their market either. They're the biggest thing going anywhere. It's not like they need the money or the marketing. And they're not going to put an NFL franchise in Europe. It just doesn't work out. And they're not going to put one in South America. It's too much travel. It's too much out of the way. Play your preseason games there. Come back and let everybody have the games. That's the London shit all the time. Always want to do the London thing. That's not fair to any team to have to go over there and play.
As far as having a team there permanently?
Yeah, you're not going to do that. Could you imagine having to play the 49ers have to play London in a football game?
Yeah.
Why don't you just fucking put a team in Beijing? I mean, it does not work out. And I don't understand what they're doing because they're either tapped into that market already, but I don't think it's not fair to the teams from America to have to go over there and play. I think they should do NFL Europe like they did before. I thought that was a great thing in the spring. It's a great feeder league. You get to train some quarterbacks. They get some work. I think it was a great deal. And it was just Europe football. And I thought that worked out good, but it obviously didn't. But I do not understand that. But football's changing. The poor person living in America is not going to be able to watch football in 5 years anyways.
With all the streaming.
It's all going to be streaming only. It's what it's coming to.
I'm not trying to cut you guys short here or anything, but I'll pick up the kid shortly. But to go on your statement as far as streaming stuff goes, I mean, I've been a Cubs fan my whole life, and I haven't watched a Cubs game since they went to the Marquee Network. I am not paying whatever it costs to have. I mean, it's 6 months of baseball, but I'm not paying an extra however much money to have a different network to watch a baseball game.
Yeah.
That's pretty. That's funny you said that, because the Rangers last year won the World Series, and I didn't watch one game. Now, I'm not going to watch much baseball. Bryce Elder, my friend, pitches tonight. I may watch him for a little bit, but I'm not going to watch baseball, and I damn sure ain't going to pay extra to get a streaming service to watch a baseball game. And it's not going to happen. But I know so many older people in my community. They're like, I can't even watch the Rangers no more. Right. It's on Bally's one week. The next week it's over here. And it's just, they're ruining, baseball's killing themselves unless they're making so much money that they don't care.
Yeah.
Well, that, and just, I know it's off topic from football, but I played baseball my whole life growing up. Just all the stupid changes, everything else. And I mean, I have a lot of friends that love baseball and they like them. I guess I don't agree with them. A pitch clock, I was always under the impression if you're pitching, you're in control of the game, the tempo, the speed, the pitch clock for as far as like base runners go. I mean, they're basically, I shouldn't say they're giving them a green light, but the odds of you stealing a base are, I'd say, significantly higher now, let alone the base is bigger by however much, which I don't think that's a huge deal. But being able to time out a pitcher like, hey, he's got to go at this time, otherwise he's going to end up with a ball, or he only can throw over twice, or whatever the rules are. I don't know. I just think it's going downhill as it is anyways. They just want all offense all the time, which it's fun, but at the same time, I mean, I like watching a good pitcher's duel.
Yeah.
I like watching it. I mean, I guess you just really gotta love watching the game to understand certain things.
Yeah.
Well, unlike where, yeah, I disagree with a lot of what they do anymore.
What sucks about baseball too is you can't grow products like you used to anymore because the small market teams can't afford them. Like the Kansas City Royals, I think, just signed Bobby Witt Jr. to a big extension, and I don't watch baseball much. I keep up with highlights and stuff. He looks like he's the best young player in baseball. He's got a chance to win the Triple Crown this year. He's going to probably be the MVP. I saw him hit a grand slam last night. He's like 4th or 5th in home runs, 2nd in batting average and stuff. But he'll end up being a Dodger or a Red Sox or a Yankee when it all comes down to it, because they won't be able to afford to pay him $75 million a year, whatever he's going to get by that time.
They need to figure out a salary cap or something. Yep. I mean, they say what pisses me off about it too is they say the Cubs are a big market team. They don't act like it.
Yep.
All this stuff, and the what are they now, like 5-6 games under 500 again? It's like, you're not the Yankees, you're not the Dodgers. Stop acting like you are, and if you are going to act like you are, start paying players to come here and play.
They don't want to. It's all about making the profit. They do need salary caps in the baseball, just like the NFL. If the NFL did not have salary caps, the Dallas Cowboys would have $400 million payroll. I'm telling you right now, Jerry Jones would spend whatever it took. He would sell his wife, his jet, and his kids to win a Super Bowl. They would spend whatever it is. So they need a hard salary cap. Baseball don't have it, and the big market teams just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think baseball would be better off, like you said, to change things up. I noticed the leading base stealer last night had 56 stolen bases. Vince Coleman or Ricky Henderson playing today would have 200 stolen bases.
Yeah, it's like I said. I mean, there's got to be, who was it? Was it a year or two ago that Acuna had the 70 stolen bases or 70 plus stolen bases and whatever? I mean, he had an outstanding year at the plate too, but it's like, how can you feel? I don't know. I mean, I guess the same thing goes in football for certain things too. You start seeing all these receivers have all these yards and whatever, and like without the hits being as dominant. I mean, it's in every sport, but I couldn't go out there knowing like, hey, yeah, I did this, and they changed the rules pretty much so I could do this and be like, oh, I have the new record now.
Right.
Hold it to the same standard as, what Ricky Henderson did or whatever else. But then in the same I'm also the one that says Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player to ever play the game.
All right, before we get out of here, one question. Pete Rose. I think Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I think they should do it tomorrow. I don't give a shit. He betted on himself in baseball. I know you're not supposed to. He's 85 years old, but his work on the field should count. He should be in the Hall of Fame. So should Kurt Schilling.
Yeah, I mean, Pete Rose, sadly, what's going to happen is he's going to pass away, and then it's going to be this big ordeal where they put him in after he passes.
Exactly. And he deserves to be in there. He's his own worst enemy, but he was one amazing baseball player. Arguably has to be a top 5 greatest player of all time. Arguably.
Yeah.
Charlie Hustle.
Like I said, the same thing with Barry Bonds. I think eventually they're going to do it probably way down the road when he passes away. Same thing like with Pete Rose, I said. I mean, I saw, what was it, yesterday? If you take away Barry Bonds' 7 MVPs, he still has like 440 home runs and like 385 stolen bases, and nobody else has that.
Yeah, he's a freaking stud. Was a stud.
I got 2 rapid fire questions before you go. Super Bowl prediction and who is the greatest caller to not win Worlds?
Jeff Stanfield.
There you go.
Super Bowl prediction. Man, I don't know. That's tough. I can't say my Packers as much as I'd like to.
Do the Packers win to the division?
I know I said rapid fire, but I think the NFC North, as of right now, especially on paper, is the toughest division in football. On paper. We'll wait to see if that's accurate.
Ooh, that's awful tough considering Minnesota's don't have a fucking quarterback.
JJ McCarthy might hit.
Yeah,
but who
but
else?
Chicago's got a rookie quarterback.
You got
and so
Green
does
Bay and
Minnesota.
Detroit.
That's the only 2 teams.
Okay. Who do you have in the West? You got San Francisco.
Seattle's better than Minnesota or Chicago, and so is so are the Rams.
Okay, then you got the East. You got the Cowboys, Philly,
and that's it.
But I mean, are we putting the Cowboys up there?
And Cowboys in Philadelphia. Cowboys are going to be a legit Super Bowl contender, just like Philly. I mean, before the season,
I don't think so.
Injuries, they're going to be, yeah.
And then you got the South. The South's Tampa Bay.
I saw today where someone picked the Falcons to win 13 games. There's no way in hell on that shit.
So I don't think Robbie's that far off in saying that the North is the toughest.
I don't think so. So you think the NFC?
I said on paper
more than the AFC North?
No, he said in the NFC.
I don't know. That's just, you got 2 rookie quarterbacks. That's tough.
On paper, I mean, Caleb Williams, I'm not 100% sold, especially after his last season of college. But normally when you have every single scout and every reporter saying this guy is the best draft pick I've ever seen, there's normally some truth to it. And though I hate the Chicago Bears, I hate everything about them. They have certain players that I do really like, but they finally did something that the Packers have always failed to do, and they have loaded him with talent.
They did do that.
They've got that. I'll give you that 100%, but he's still a rookie quarterback, and I don't think he has any fucking backbone to him. I think he's soft.
He very well could be, but that's why I said on paper, and the Bears' defense is always solid. At worst, I should say.
They are
solid. The Vikings have a solid defense, and they have the same thing where they have, whether it's Sam Darnold or McCarthy at QB, he has depth around him at every skill position. Then you have the Packers, who we don't know Jordan Love quite yet, but we've seen what the ceiling could potentially be. In the skill position players, we don't have a 1 receiver, but we have a lot of really good 2s. We'll see what happens with our defense this year. And then you have the Lions. I'm not a huge Jared Goff guy, but I think he's found a system that works. They have a couple really good running backs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I love their head coach. I love how aggressive he is, going for it on 4th down. I love it. To me, yeah, I think the NFC North is, on paper, the best division in the NFC. So I will say I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Okay.
Just because I'm a big Jalen Hurts guy.
They're loaded, too.
after Saban screwed them. And then, I mean, it's hard to bet against Kansas City, as sad as it is to say it. I mean, I know they're going through some stuff with wide receivers right now, but Mahomes and Kelsey duo is just too good.
Yeah. Well, then they got that Worthy kid, and he's already popping from what I've seen at training camp. So they might have found their Tyreek Hill.
So you're going Philadelphia, Kansas City.
That'd be my safe bet. If you were telling me to put a bunch of money on it, that's what I'd be picking.
Okay.
That's very, very fair. I think the steal of the NFL draft is going to be Jaden Daniels.
No.
I think Caleb Williams, I think they took him, and they should have taken Jaden Daniels before then.
No. Did you watch the Hard Knocks with the Giants? He interviewed horribly.
I don't give a fuck if he interviews. It's how he plays fucking football. C.J. Stroud also interviewed horrible. That's why he fell to where he did.
Okay.
Not C.J. Yeah, C.J. Stroud, because they took the kid at I feel sorry for the kid at Carolina. He's gonna be rich.
Yeah.
He's one contract and done. He will never get a second contract. But I think Jaden Daniels, I don't care how he interviewed. He's a football player. He's an athlete. And so I think they got a steal of that. We'll see what happens. But I appreciate your input. Kansas City and Philadelphia. That is definitely Kansas City is going to be the trendy pick for sure.
Yep.
I just can't tick them because I don't think anybody's going 3 Super Bowls in a row. But I don't know who the hell's going to beat them.
Tough to do.
It is. I mean, they're really good on defense. That's where they don't get the credit for. They are so good on freaking defense now.
Right.
They've got a hell of a system there.
Robbie, I know you're up against the clock. You got to go pick up the kiddo. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to chop it up with us. Congratulations on your big dive bomb win.
Thank you.
Keep the train rolling, and hopefully we'll cross paths one day, and I'll buy you a beer.
Sounds good. I have to do this again. I had a good time.
Thank you, Robbie. You have a good day. God bless you, my friend.
Be safe.
See ya. Bye. The best goose caller in the world, debatably.
Shanahan called him the GOAT.
Yep.
I'm gonna believe what Shanahan said.
Yep. I'm big on that. There's 10 guys.
My Super Bowl predictions. What's yours?
Shit, we're gonna do about 37 of these before season gets here. Right now, without any injuries, let's just say
Training camp just started.
I want to pick Dallas just because I hate Dallas.
There you go. You picked them
And
last year.
I know, and that was a guarantee they won't do anything. I don't think the Texans are still there yet. I think they damn sure solidified their team. I'm going to take Baltimore. As much as I rip on Lamar Jackson, they have such a good organization. Such a good organization. And Derrick Henry adding them to run the ball. They're going to get Mark Andrews if they stay healthy. I'm going to take Baltimore just because I don't think Kansas City could win 3 in a row. So I'm going to go Baltimore, and I'm going to go Detroit. I'm going to have Detroit winning the Super Bowl this year.
I'm going Cousin Joe against the Niners, and Cousin Joe wins.
You know, I think San Francisco's done.
You think so?
I think they've Buffalo built it out. I just think they've pinnacled.
They brought everybody back.
They're good. They just can't.
Except
get
for that Greenlaw guy.
They just can't get it done.
You don't think so?
No, they haven't yet. They get close, and they've got so much talent. And John Manny's going to be upset with me, but I just don't. I think they're going to have a lot of problems in their clubhouse because of the Brandon Ayuk deal. And Brock Purdy deserves to get paid. He's only making $900,000 this year.
Yeah, that was my next question. If he takes them to another NFC title game, let's say he goes to the Super Bowl. Let's say my prediction's right.
Let's say he wins it.
Is he 60
$65
million?
million a year.
Mr. Irrelevant.
They're going to drop him a check for $500 million.
Here's my next.
Guaranteed
Here's
money.
my next
10
question.
years, $500 million guaranteed.
Here's my next question. If he's not Mr. Irrelevant, let's say Caleb Williams does what Brock Purdy did.
I'll be shocked.
Would he, with the pedigree, have gotten a big contract sooner than Brock Purdy?
Not if they were smart. San Francisco's smart. They can afford all the veterans, and they kept Russell Wilson.
I understand.
Same way.
I know what you're saying.
And Patrick Mahomes.
But looking at the market and the way that contracts are going right now, if he didn't have that stigma of Mr. Irrelevant, and he had, because let's face it, like he's not. He's a
systems guy.
Yeah, he's not athletic. I don't want to say he's not an athlete because that's not the right word. But he doesn't pop.
He's the Troy Aikman stigma.
Right.
Nobody ever thinks of Troy Aikman as being a great quarterback. Mm-hmm. I mean, unless you're a Cowboy fan, then and Skip Bayless. But
the intangibles, I guess, is what I should say.
But Troy Aikman, when you talk about great quarterbacks, nobody ever says Troy Aikman ever. He never comes up. Emmitt Smith. When you talk about great running backs, Emmitt Smith's name don't come up.
I disagree there.
Nobody thinks of him as the best running back. They think of Barry Sanders, Walter Payton. There's a lot of guys you think of, except for the guy who led the year because of the system he was in.
Right. But
He was
back to my original question. If Brock Purdy had the pedigree and a first-round talent, do you think he would have already gotten a big deal?
Yes.
Yes.
They've got a kid that's happy to be there from Iowa.
Right.
He doesn't stir up any problems at all.
Mm-hmm.
Comes out and plays football.
And wins.
And he's not off the field issues. And they take that for granted. And they're going to pay him the $900,000 a year this year. And then next year they're going to write him a check for $50 million.
If he produces.
Even if he don't produce, he's going to be rich.
Really?
He's got too good a body of work already.
You think if the Niners go 7-10, they're gonna pay him the bank?
Somebody is going to.
Wow.
You don't think so?
Interesting.
Somebody will jump all over him in a heartbeat. He's rich.
Interesting.
He's going to be taken care of
Yeah.
forever. The kid at Carolina, if he don't win, he won't be taken care of.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it goes. But I think that Brock Purdy will be taken care of regardless. If he does win a Super Bowl, he's going to be a Rith. He's going to be a real Rith.
Yeah.
But, and I'm serious, I could see them give him a 10-year, $500 million deal guaranteed, $50 million a year for 10 years. And that's good money. Remember when Patrick Mahomes got his big contract 2 years ago? That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now, what's he, the 12th or 13th highest paid quarterback in football?
Yeah.
It's not a bad deal. Dak Prescott is going to be the wealthiest man in the NFL for about 3 months probably. And it will probably be next March, and it will probably be Seattle, Denver, Oakland, the Giants or somebody, the Jets, paying him a ton of money. Because I just don't think Jerry's going to pay him. And Jerry's already bungled that up if he was going to.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think, but I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit would win a Super Bowl. The only reason Detroit won't win a Super Bowl is because the meathead on the sidelines.
Old meathead. The reason everybody loves him is a reason that
I don't think he'll win the Super Bowl.
they might have a hard time.
Yes, but I'm picking him. But if they don't win it, it'll be because he does something. But injuries are going to play a factor. I mean,
100%.
every team out there just one injury away from being a mediocre football team.
Yeah.
You take Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs still probably make the playoffs because of how good their defense is. They're not winning nothing.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go ahead and get this out of the way. Over the weekend, we were at the Delta show, and we got a call from the kid that was watching the dogs.
That works for us, Hunter.
Lou has passed away. He passed away at the ripe age of 11, passed away peacefully, laid down, took a big breath, and then that was it. He didn't struggle. He wasn't sick. To my knowledge, obviously something went wrong. But I appreciate everybody that has messaged me. This is kind of the first time that we've made a big announcement about it. I haven't even made a social media post about it yet, up to the recording of this. But a big loss. My kids absolutely adored him. He was everything that I wanted in a dog, and a great pet, a great hunter, and he will be missed. So we are trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Obviously, hunting season is right around the corner, so getting another dog, obviously getting a puppy, that's out of the question. So probably looking at getting start a dog from Corey at Double T. I told the kids yesterday that was a pretty rough day, but he is gone. We're going to get his ashes back. Corey from Cedar Run. He's going to make a couple urns. One's going to be out here. We'll put some ashes in there. I'll have one at my house. There's a dirt dog about to bite me. Put one at the house, put some ashes in it, and then I'm also going to ship some ashes up to Boss, and they'll put some in some shotgun shells. So it was a tough weekend in Baton Rouge, and yesterday was a really, really tough day telling the kids. So we've made it through that, and yeah, it's forward from here. Dogs don't last forever. He had a great life. He hunted 7 days a week up until last year, and then last year I kind of put him on a pitch count of really, when I look back, he hunted 5 or 6 days even last year at his big age. So he was a workhorse through and through.
He was a remarkable dog, and he's the last connection to my dad we have with a pet. Ollie was a pet to my dad, but Lou was a working dog, and
Yep.
Dad loved Lou, and it makes me feel good because they say when you go to heaven that you get to do stuff you like to do, and my dad's hunting and running dogs and losing the blind with Beavis and all the other good dogs Dad had, and they don't live long enough. And he was a remarkable pet. My black grandson, I called him. And the hurt that I have for my grandsons is more than anything I've ever went through in a long time, knowing how bad that this has hurt them. He was a good dog, and he'll only get better as we move forward, because people and dogs, when they die, are better than they ever are when they was alive. And Lou was a damn good dog when he was alive, so he'll be a great dog when he was over. So hug your pets, love them, and there's no guarantee. And if you'd have told me when Andy got him he was going to be 11 years, I thought, boy, you got a blessing on that, 11 years. But it don't make it any better. And I can't wait. Corey's doing a bumper, a hand carved bumper that we're going to put Lou's ashes in and go sit right up here on the table by Ron. And he was a good dog. And poor Hunter, that had to be the hardest call he's ever had to call somebody in the world.
Oh, I'm sure. If his Hunter's first week on the job and killed my dog.
The funny thing is, the night before, I was looking at the security camera at the lodge went off, and I looked at it, and so I looked through there's got 9 different cameras out here, and so I'm scrolling through them. And in my office, the trash can's over, and I see a black tail in the trash can, and he's got the trash pour over in the lodge. So I called Hunter up, and I said, hey, Lou's gotten in the damn trash in the office. He texted me back, is there anything else I need to Lou proof in here? I said, nope. So
everything. You got to Lou proof everything.
But he was a wonderful, wonderful dog and a good person. And
I got to take all the stuff home today.
Yeah, when I walked in the office yesterday, that was pretty tough. All his stuff is here. God bless him, Lou. I loved you. You're a good dog. Not always a good citizen, but you were a damn good pet and a fine hunting dog, and will never replace you. But you'll have another one. So you're not gonna get a puppy then?
I'm gonna get a puppy after hunting season.
So y'all are gonna have 2 dogs?
No.
I thought, you're gonna get a dog just to run.
Yeah, just to work.
Okay, I've got you now. I thought you meant you're gonna just get a started dog. The boys are gonna get a puppy.
No, yeah, I'm gonna have a dog and I might not even get a dog this year. I don't know. Might just hunt with some young buck every day and make that little bastard go get all the birds. I don't know. It's all pretty fresh. I've gotten a lot of calls from our friend Steve Barber wanting to know what I'm going to do. I haven't even. Yesterday was a whirlwind. My grandma. So we got back from Baton Rouge Sunday. Got a call Monday. My grandma there had a stroke, so I was in Lubbock all day yesterday with that. It's been.
We're ready for August, right?
When it rains, it pours. But it's been. This weekend is just. I don't know if I'll ever go back to Baton Rouge. As much bad shit has happened.
And that was a good time.
It was a good time, but lost a dog. Thought my grandmother fell and broke her hip, and then I got a call yesterday on Monday that she had a stroke, and that was a big deal. But I have not really wrapped my head around what I'm going to do dog wise. But I do know the one thing I do know is that we are not getting a puppy until February or March, just because I would like to train this next one, and the kids deserve a puppy. If I were to get a started dog that's a year or 2 old, by the time that thing passes away, you're looking at another 7 or 8 years. My kids are going to be older. So this is really our only opportunity as a family to bring a puppy home.
And they love Amos Moses. They love puppies.
Yeah. Everybody loves a puppy until you got to take it outside every 3 hours. But so yeah, that is the news. Lou is no longer here. It's going to be this will be a big adjustment this year. He was a focal point of all my hunts, and slept with Reese every night. So we're gonna have to go through that as a family, but we'll get through it. They don't last long. This is the first real big bit of adversity that the kids have had to go through. Especially Reese, because he's older now. He's 9, so he realizes the loss. Jameson didn't really.
He's upset, he knew, but he doesn't understand.
He knew, but he didn't understand.
Reese will remember Lou. The rest of his life.
Yeah.
Jameson will not. He'll just know you had Lou, and
right.
We had a good dog, but that's a big part. Because the next one you get, Reese is going to be in college when he passes away, or should be
right around there.
If he lives 10 or 11 years old, Reese will be in college and on when he dies, and you'll call and say, "Hey,
he passed away." The good thing is that having a lab in the same house for as long as we did, we're going to be picking up fucking pieces of Lou for the next 4 years. So he's gone, but I'm telling you what, there's enough hair in that house that I think I could make another Lou out of just some of the loose dog hair. But it's weird. It's weird walking in the house because I keep thinking he's going to meet me. But
he was a great dog, and it's a bond that you have a bond with a pet that's just your pet. There's no doubt about it. But there's a special bond for people that have working dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's a healer, a lab,
Yeah.
a point dog, whatever it is, it's a drug dog for a cop. It's a different relationship when you work together. And
Partnership.
God bless Lou, bud. We're gonna miss you up here. I sure loved your ass.
I'm glad I could get through it. I think I got all my crying out yesterday when we told the kids. So
Jesse said that was really tough on you.
yeah.
It was hard. It was hard for me telling you. That was the hardest thing I have done in a long time, and I hope I don't have to ever do nothing that hard again.
Hunter, make sure he's dead before I go tell
That's what
anybody.
I told him.
Yeah.
I called back. I said, "Are you sure he's dead?" I mean, because this ain't something I want to tell Andy, and then by the way, he's outside running around. You know.
Yeah.
And so I made sure.
Yeah.
I said,
mean,
and he's like, "Yes, that's okay."
most of the time we will board our dogs with a lady south of here.
I'm glad we didn't.
Glad he was here. I'm glad he didn't go get run off on Hunter and get hit by a truck on the highway. I mean, when you told me he was dead, I was like, did he run away? You know, and then, you ripped the Band-Aid off and told me what happened. But, you just go through this, what has happened? Like, did he get away? Did he get hit by a truck? What, so
I could not.
Could he not stand up?
I could not be a bearer of bad news.
Right.
I do not do good at it.
Being an ER doctor?
Oh, fuck no. He's dead. He suffered. He's dead. It's over. You know, that's why I was like, I didn't know what I started crying. It bothered me that bad because I knew you were going to be hurt. I love Lou. I've been around a lot of good dogs. I've lost 3 dogs in my life. Didn't lose one of the 3 that really hurt me.
Yeah.
Him, Beavis, Missy, and him have really bothered me. And when Ollie's gone, it's going to hurt me a lot.
Yeah.
But it's part of life, and it sucks, and it's just an animal.
Yeah.
If I had to choose something between Lou or one of my grandkids, it's not even hard, it's nothing at all.
Right.
But it bothers you. They're part of your families, and we know they don't live that long, and that's what sucks. But you do it all over again in a heartbeat. You're fixing to do it all over again.
Right.
You are. Yeah. You're going to be in the same boat. 2 years from now, we're going to sit here, and your new name, Bobo, or whatever you call your new dog, is going to be just as mean as much to you.
Yeah.
It happens.
Right.
My dad told me that a long time ago when one of his dogs died. And I said something to him about it, and he'd had a new dog, and it was about 6 months later, and he goes, I sure miss him, but he goes, man, this is a good dog here. And you get to that point. You love them and miss them.
Yeah. And
every one of them's wonderful in their own ways. So God bless you, Lou, and pray for my grandkids, especially Reese boy. He needs it.
Yeah, tonight will be the first night that we got to tackle, because he slept in bed with him every night. So
I can tell you where he's going to sleep till you get a puppy.
He's already mentioned it.
Yep, with y'all.
He's already mentioned
every
it.
single night.
He said, "Now, can we just get in? Can I sleep in your bed until we get a new puppy?" And I'm like, "No."
You want to bring Amos over tonight?
No.
Amos, come over and spend the night with y'all for a while.
There's no sense in doing that.
No.
Just rip the Band-Aid off. This is your new routine now. Jameson has claimed the new dog to sleep in his bed.
That means you're gonna have to get 2 dogs.
Because he has said Reese had Lou.
So he gets
it's only fair that I get the new one to sleep with me.
That's a tough one for you to call.
Yeah,
that's going to be. So you might as well get 2 dogs.
No, I'm not getting 2 dogs. we are not a 2 dog. Anyway, that is the news from the weekend. It's been an emotional weekend, and I am ready to get it behind me and move forward. And then we're gonna get his ashes and all that other thing, and that'll be all over again. So. Anyway, that's the news. I appreciate everybody that has called, texts, messaged me. Some people knew just from Baton Rouge, but this is the first big one. So
yeah, so if you come by the Boss booth, the opening of Delta, and there was a bunch of people bawling in the corner,
right?
That would have been me, my wife, and Jesse. Andy done it better than any of us. He held up, and you held it up for all of us. We're crying like a baby, and Andy's like, "It's good, it'll be all right, it'll be all right." And I knew damn well it wasn't, but you done a good job. You'd make a good preacher. All right. Thank y'all for listening to us. God bless y'all. Have a great, wonderful weekend. We got
Ben Commodores next, and then we got the team from Ducks Unlimited.
Ducks Unlimited going to be in here, and then we got a couple of solar guys on. We're going to get all the information on solars, and that one will drop out on Monday, and we'll have our Did You Know, and then it won't be long, and we'll start having our football podcast every week. Thank y'all. God bless y'all. Be safe. Bye.
Watch for deer. Check out all of our great sponsors. Go check out Double T British Kennels if you're looking for a new dog, started dog, finished dog, puppy, whatever. Contact Corey there, Double T British Kennels. Mallard Bay, Mitch Hall, Mossberg, Stanfield Outfitters, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Hemp Hill Farm. Use our promo code BHP. Ducks Unlimited, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Podcast, Shin Gear, Dirty Duck Coffee, Dive Bomb Industries, Pacific Calls, Boss Shot Shells, and MLR Graphics. Use our promo code of Pacific BHP25.